What up, YouTube? You already know Big Lou, the land assess himself. Tap it back in one more game. But what it do with Big Lou and FZR2? Baby, baby. Bacatera. So, as you can tell from that thumbnail, we're back into some boxing, baby, baby. Right? The beef with Turki. I don't know how to say his last name. I'm not even going to attempt to try to say his last name. From Saudi Arabia, the minister of, he's the GE something, GEA, the general of, I'll tell you in a minute. And, anyways, he's pretty much responsible. Um, he's had positions within their government, the Saudi Arabia government, as far as in the interior, the interior ministry, the Ministry of Interior, the defense. And anyways, he's been apparently positioned at to bring these fights to Saudi Arabia, which some of the fights have been flopping as far as the sales and all that. Some of them have been getting pirate, they've been pretty much stealing piracy, right? Stealing the pay per view event. Um, and some of the stuff just ain't been panning out, but some of it has been panning out. So, anyways, there's a beef between Canelo Alvarez and Turki. Apparently, Turki wanted to run like he ran not too long ago, the Queensberry Promotions versus Matchroom, which was pretty much Frank Warren's guys versus Eddie Hearn's guys, right? And so now he wants to run um, uh, United States versus, I believe, United States versus Mexico, I believe it is, unless it's United States versus international. But the main event, they wanted it to be Terrence Crawford, who just added another division, another title to his already impressive resume, where he's became WBA 154-pound champion. So he added that along with the three divisions he already had. He's a two-time undisputed at 140, which is junior welterweight, and 147, which is welterweight. But um, apparently, Canelo don't like the way Turki was talking to him. So I think what it is two egos bumping heads, right? Obviously, Canelo believes he's the man, he's the face of boxing, which I don't argue with that. But I will say that this next fight, he's fighting with Berlanga, even though he's my people's. Um, I got to go with Berlanga because he's my people's, but Berlanga's not ready for this. Berlanga's not ready for no Canelo, and the way he sounds talking shit, it's fucking embarrassing, right? But I will say this: I don't know what Canelo Alvarez paid Captain Saberho with Caleb Plant for. Caleb Plant has problems with everybody. Why is that? I don't understand. He's not that little. He's not that little innocent looking person. I mean, to have beef with everybody. At one time, him and Canelo had beef. Because Canelo said "son of a bitch" or whatever he said. Oh no, motherfucker. So he took that personal. He was talking about his mom. Right, but he had beef with Jamal Charlo. He smacked Jamal Charlo, and Jamal didn't do jack shit about it. He had beef with Benavidez. Now he got beef with Berlanga. He had beef with what's the name till he knocked him out, Darrell. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why Canelo would step up. Don't worry, Caleb. I take care of it for you, Caleb. Don't worry, I take care of this for you. He told him, right? Uh, Berlanga. Berlanga is 22-0, 16 wins. Of those 22 came by first round knockout. So he has only 6 fights as he went past the first round. He don't have no experience. You're talking about getting in the ring with the best at 168. I'm still gonna say Canelo's the best at 168. The belts don't lie, right? As of right now, but at some point he can't keep ducking. He can't keep ducking Benavidez. He can't keep saying, "Well, what does Benavidez do for me?" Because now it's to the point where he's gonna do it for you. I mean, he's the only guy standing left at 168. To fight. I don't believe David Morale has enough experience behind him and the pros to be talking shit like he's somebody. Um, the only other person I can think of would be Boo Boo Andrade, and he lost his last outing to Benavidez. So Benavidez is the last time Canelo talked that shit about Benavidez. Benavidez beat 2 ex-champions, Caleb Plant and Boo Boo. And then he went up in light heavyweight, and David Morale looked didn't look good in light heavyweight either. Um, so, anyways, so they got the beef. I want to say that originally they came at him with. I think he's outpricing himself purposely, right? Canelo. I believe he said. I believe he said one. I know he said 150 million for one fight and 200 million for the other fight. One with Benavidez, one with Crawford. Uh, and so I think what's happening, like I said, I think Canelo's got a big ego. He's the champion. He feels about himself the way he feels about himself, and he's backed it up. I mean, other than the two losses against that were almost 10 years apart, I mean, nobody's rocked him. I mean, even with the Bivol fight, he didn't get rocked. He still stood in there and fought, and he's only a 5'7.5" guy, fighting at 168. But his power makes up what he's lacking in height, in my opinion. 5'7.5", you should only be maybe max welterweight. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe junior welterweight. Excuse me, super welterweight / junior middleweight, 154. That should be tops at 5'7.5". You know what I mean? Um, Make sure to stay hydrated with that good old H2O, that water. So, and then I think that Turkey from Saudi Arabia, because the way they run things there, or it's pretty much a dictatorship over there. It's like you do as I say. I'm paying you, so how dare you even question what's going on? You know what I'm saying? That's how I really feel about that. Um, and because that's the way his attitude is, and that's the way he might sound when he's talking. Canelo ain't feeling that, so he's like, and then too, Canelo's fought for years, May, September, May, September for years now. So what? Why does he want to fight February? You know what I'm saying? I mean, some guys become superstitious. You know what I'm saying? Just like with baseball, basketball, people do certain things before the games. People don't like to change up routines, and that falls right down that alley if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? If that's what he's thinking, and who can argue with that? He's been fighting every May and every September for I don't know how long. I can remember now. You know what I'm saying? So let me give you a little background on what's going on with this here. So the gist of Turkey's criticism is that he believes Alvarez is intentionally pricing himself out of marquee matchups to avoid difficult opponents. Turkey points specifically to Alvarez's most recent loss, which came against WBA light heavyweight champion Bivol in May 2022. Well, that's well over 2 years ago. Let's see. So this is what he says. This is from SB Nation. Turkey blasts Canelo for only taking easy fights. Canelo's latest fight booking has drawn the ire of some of combat sports' most influential names. The super, the super, the superstar boxer recently ruffled the feathers of UFC CEO Dana White and Conor McGregor recently, with White criticizing MGM for booking Alvarez's upcoming September 14th fight with Edgar Berlanga in Las Vegas on the same night as the UFC 306 at nearby Sphere, and McGregor targeting Alvarez himself, calling him a cornflake. Oh, okay. I don't know. McGregor ain't got no room to call nobody no names. You know what I'm saying? Canelo would destroy that dude. Um, Saudi Arabian advisor and fight promoter Turkey, and like I said, I ain't even gonna try to say his last name. Also appears to have beef with Alvarez, as he recently announced that he is not pursuing a dream fight between Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Okay, let me say this too. Before Terence Crawford last fight with Israel Madrimov, it was a lot what he was talking about. After he got in there with Madrimov, a true 154 pounder, and he felt some of the power shots, even though he took them really well. Um, he didn't even mention nothing about Canelo afterwards. Not to say that he's not still interested, but I think he's having a little second thoughts about being able to be in the pocket, stand there and take shots from Canelo Alvarez. You're still talking about you're talking about another 14 pounds difference in weight, and Canelo hits very hard. You know what I'm saying? On Wednesday, Turkey elaborated on his reason for not wanting to work with Alvarez or his team via social media post. I heard what Canelo said, that he respects me, but doesn't like the way we do business. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. As for the way I do business, I know why he doesn't like it, because I only target big fights at fair prices. So of course, anyone who likes easy fights won't like that, and I know how he feels about losing to Bivol. So he's been looking for easier fights ever since. Also, I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting David Benavidez or Crawford. He's not afraid to fight. Definitely not Crawford. Benavidez, I don't know. I mean, at this point, I don't know if he's afraid. I just think he don't want to get in there with him. At this point, I think he's trying to buy time to fight, hoping that some other fights pop up. You know what I'm saying? Because let's be honest, David Benavidez is a true threat to him. You're talking a man to man, 6'2", almost 6'3", 168 obviously, but he throws hard too, and he's at high volume of punches. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, I knew he was wasting our time and making excuses with big amounts of money that can't be paid. So I'm continuing my way to make big fights that serve the boxing world, and he's on his way to making easy, slow fights. Um, me honest, the only big fight to make is either him get back in the ring with Bivol, him to fight Better Beef, or to fight Benavidez. I don't. Crawford is not a. I mean, it's a dream fight, big fight in name only. It's not. I don't believe there's a competition there. Um, even if even if Crawford was able to outbox him, right, be that so-called kryptonite to Canelo, right, Lara, Mayweather, Bivol, you know what I'm saying? Even then, when Crawford's going to get caught, right? He's going to catch him, and it's going to rock the shit out of him. He ain't going to be able to take it. Remember, little Gamboa knocked the shit out of him. I don't know how many times. That was way back at 135 pounds or 130 pounds, whatever it was, 130, 135. You're talking about almost 40 pounds, 35 pounds on a man at weigh-in. Not saying when he comes in the next day weigh-in, that punches very, very hard. You know what I'm saying? The gist of Turkey's criticism uh, is that he believes Alvarez is intentionally pricing himself out of marquee matchup to avoid difficult opponents. Okay, I read that. Alvarez has rebounded with 4 consecutive victories, knocking off the likes of Triple G, Jermel Charlo, and most recently Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia was a good fight. It's just Jaime Munguia had no experience at 150, or excuse me, at 168 yet. He's an ex-champion. He needed to fight 2 or 3 more times, then possibly get in there with Canelo. And that's why, I mean, come on, Munguia's got almost 50 pro fights. Ex-world champion. He vacated it to go up. You're talking about Berlanga, who has half of his fights and nowhere near the ring experience. I don't care how much amateur experience he got. He don't have it. Doesn't compute to pro, right? And then look what he did. He got in there with that one dude. I can't even think of his name, and he made him look silly. You're up next for Alvarez is another defense of his super middleweight titles against Berlanga on September 14th. In Alvarez's 65 fight career, he has just lost twice, and also has 2 draws on his record. Turkey has been aggressive in promoting big name boxing bouts over the past few years. This past weekend, his Rida season promotions held in an event at the BMO Stadium in LA, headlined by Crawford fighting Israel Majimov. He was also a driving force behind former UFC champion and current PFL star Francis Ngannou's fight with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, and Fury's recent championship bout versus Usyk. Update. Let's see. Alvarez has responded to Turkey comment on social media, and the boxing champion is clearly taking the criticism in stride. Let's see. So, um, I don't. Yeah. So I mean, back to the real deal. You know what I'm saying? Crawford's fought once at 154. You know what I'm saying? To to make a fight at 168 with Canelo. Canelo's not going down to 160. He's not going to fight him at a catch weight of 165 or 164. He's not going down. It's going to be 168 or up, right? Um, and Crawford can't is I believe it's just putting too much weight on him, too much weight on him too fast. I don't think he'll be able to compute. His body won't compute in the ring. Just jumping up to 160, trying to put all that weight on and get in the ring at 168. Um, he will get knocked out. I believe Canelo will knock him out. And we know Canelo goes for those one shot, those one hitter quitters, those one shot, powerful shots, power punches. You know what I'm saying? And he'll hurt Crawford. I believe it. Just like Crawford beating Benavidez, it's just all it is a big payday. That's it. A huge payday, right? Probably the most that either boxer will ever get uh, at one time they meet each other. But um, it just doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. So we'll see what happens with Benavidez and Bivol. They got the new date scheduled. We'll see what happens with these other heavyweights and things of that nature. This coming week. Also on that card, Danny Garcia is taking on WBA champ, middleweight champ uh, Lara, uh, Elislandi Lara. So we'll see what happens with that. If Garcia can win, that'll be third uh, his third world title. Actually, his third title in the third division. He was a 140 champion, 147 champion, and then now 160. Uh, he fought once at 154. Now he came up to 160. So even with Danny Garcia, I think that he looked good against Jose Benavidez Jr. Dominated him. This shouldn't even have been. That should have been a unanimous. I don't know where the split decision came at, but it should have been unanimous. And it just doesn't make sense how they came up with the split. But he looked good. His feet work, his head movements. He was using going to the body combinations of upstairs, downstairs, downstairs, upstairs. Um, but what I think happened with Garcia is he's lost some of his power. Um, some of his power has left since he's went up in weight. That's what I think, and now he's went up even more. So from 150 now to 160. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, I'm going for Danny Garcia. That one will be Cuba contra Puerto Rico, even though he's Boricua from Philly, and it is what it is. But that's what I got on this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If anybody got anything further to discuss or comment on regarding this little beef or this little thing that's going on between Turkey of Saudi Arabia and him putting his big name events on, you know what I'm saying, and Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford. That being said, I'm out.